Welcome to Common Sense Conservatism. I am Lincoln Chrysler. All thoughts and opinions are my own. Today we're going to talk about something that's not quite a platform issue, but it's really important, and it came up in the news again today. So the first video that I put up is about a platform issue. It's the secularization of the Republican Party. The second platform issue that I'm going to record a video on is going to be how we can reduce military spending while ensuring the defense of the nation. You can do both of those things at one time. It doesn't have to be a vote Republican for security or vote Democrat to cut spending. I will tell you how we can have it done both ways, but not today. Today we're going to talk about mail-in voting because that's been in the news again. There are entire populations of the human race, of the American voting public, who think that it's okay to have mail-in ballots for the entire population of the United States. There's even at least one organization dedicated to it. It's called Vote at Home. They have a website called voteathome.org. I can't imagine why anybody with two brain cells close enough to communicate with each other would think that this is going to work out. This organization purports that voting at home is the most secure, cost-efficient, and convenient way to hold elections. It probably is convenient. Here's the thing. The Democrats want to make voting as convenient as possible because half the American voters sat on their duffs in 2016. Statistically speaking, all the friends, family, acquaintances, and strangers that you have to hear whine about Trump or complain that the Hillary lost, half of them, statistically speaking, about half of them sat out the election. So because Hillary Clinton's didn't motivate enough people to get out of their chairs and get to the polls and vote, I honestly don't think Joe Biden has a chance at hell of motivating enough people to get out and vote, to take the vote to them, to everybody's mailbox. If you can't even get up, get out, stand in line for a little while, and vote, then, what else are you cutting corners on? I understand if you don't live in the country, like I myself, I don't live in the country right now, so that's cool. People who are deployed, people who are, like, elderly and invalid, maybe right now with the virus, people who are actually immuno-compromised and don't need to stand in a long line of, like, 200 people and, touch a voting terminal that everybody else has been touching. I get that. But the whole country? No, it's crazy. But that's why it's being pushed by the left, is because, we can't motivate people to get out to the polls. We'll send the polls to them in the mail. The problem is, we don't know who's going to be voting. We don't know who's going to open the envelope. We don't know if the person whose name the ballot's coming in is alive or dead. There's a couple of news articles that I've seen recently. Somebody's dead cat got a voting ballot in the mail. Above and beyond that, there was a New York Times article, and it was reported in other locations, from the 20th of June, talking about, the stimulus checks we all got. $1.4 billion worth of those got sent to dead people. And I'm not talking about dead people that, passed away like a month ago or 6 months ago or a year ago. That would make sense because, information does take time to process. It's about people who've been dead for like years we're getting stimulus checks. I personally when I shared this article on my social media, I personally had somebody come up and say that, like, their dead dad, their dead uncle, like, both got checks, and it was stressful for their grandmother because these people have been gone for years and this reminded her of the loss. So, like, this is money. This is something that everybody cares about. You think that it's a foregone conclusion that most of your politicians and administration types probably care more about money than they do about a single person's vote. That's part of what's wrong with American politics. So if $1.4 billion got sent out to dead people in the mail, checks for that, what do you think's going to happen with your vote? So we need to have stand-in-line voting. November 2015 for the election. I had staff duty that day. I worked 24 hours. Then I got off of work. I drove straight to the polls, stood in line, and voted for Donald Trump. If I can get off of work, off of a 24-hour shift, and go vote, the majority of the voting public can do the same. If you're able-bodied, and I do. If I was in office, I would support making Election Day a federal holiday for the midterms as well. Election Day would be a federal paid holiday so that everybody would get the day off and be able to go vote. If you're handicapped, infirm, immuno-compromised, absentee ballots are a thing in every state. I get that. But making it the thing that happens for every person in the country, total recipe for disaster. All you have to do is put a little thought into it and think about what goes on with the mail now. How often does it take too long for your package to show up? How often do people's packages show up damaged? How often does something get stolen? How often does it get sent to your next door neighbor? And like I said, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't want this to work out in favor of the Republican Party either. I'd keep things honest, keep things the way they are. In-person elections, masks, social distancing, disinfect the voting terminals, and we're good.